Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Today is Friday. I need to say that a few times. With all the updates going on, filmed at different times and different days and put together in my spare time and all stuff, I've just lost track this week. But Friday's important because today is Orchid Society meeting, and even though I've been a member of this society for a while, this meeting is different. It's called a plant clinic, where people bring their troublesome plants in for the experts to look at and diagnose and advise. And I've never taken a plant in before. The first time I ever saw this meeting, you know, it's a progression. It comes into the program every year, so there is always one of these each year. So the first one I ever saw, the first plant that was passed up to the top table where all the experts sit, which I was a little in awe of when I first joined, you know, looking at some of the plants that were being brought in, I just, my jaw dropped, and I thought, well, I'm never going to achieve things like that. You know, they've had these plants grown perfectly for 20 years. And I haven't long started, so, you know, it can be a bit disheartening seeing plants like that. But it can also give you a kick and say, well, if they can do it, why can't I? And if there's no good reason to that, well, then you will. It's just time, that's all it is. You know, and making sure they don't go downhill, and you will get those big specimen plants eventually, you know. But I'm going to take this one in. This was this Dendrobium, and the marks on these leaves, to me, are not diagnosable. I have no answer. So let's go and see what the other guys think. My theory, which I'll do an update, is that at some point this plant had spider mites, but because I routinely spray, they may well have got knocked on the head. But most spider mite damage is on the underside of leaves. This is on the top. Yeah? The other thing I've thought, there is some underneath as well. The new growths are growing clean at the moment, so I'm okay with that. But this is not an old growth. This giant coming out the side here grew this year. So either this has got some sort of infection, or it's had some bugs and they're now gone, or something. But it'd be nice to let somebody else have a think. I hope they don't come up with the answer, take it out in the yard and put the flamethrower on it, because I wouldn't do that anyway. Anyway, so Orchid Society meeting tonight. I just thought I'd come back to this one. This is the Miltonidium Peter Comp. And I've just had a look in my records. Now, okay, this spike's going over now. You know, this won't be long for this world. But the first bloom on that spike opened on the 8th of August. And it's just going over now towards the end of October. That's good value for money in my book. And it's still got two spikes that, you know, that are, these two spikes opened a reasonable amount of time after that one, so these two should last quite a while yet. They're both on the same bulb, and boy, has that bulb pushed some roots out. Once these spikes come off, I'll be looking for new growths. But what I did want... Oh, now there's someone at the door. I'll be back. Sorry about that. Do I want to buy a watchtower? I won't tell you what my answer was. Right. I've been waiting for this day. The weather forecast says today is going to be pretty clear with lots and lots of sunshine. Now, yes, that's good for the plants, but it's also, in filming my updates, some plants have got scale. And my routine spraying has been a bit off lately, shall we say. So I need this sort of day. If I'm going to get my plants absolutely soaking wet, I want them to dry off. We're in for a cold snap, you know, where the old night temperatures are going to drop. To such an extent, I expect my heater to start kicking in for the first time this weekend. We are expecting a cold snap. So, you know, that will test out whether I've got my thermostats right and keep my eye on my minimum temperatures and make adjustments if necessary. Because so far I haven't had to do it. The nighttime temperatures haven't got low enough for the heater to kick in yet, but they may do over this weekend. But the old sprayer's got to come out today. Now, I'm not spraying every single plant on the grounds that I have a set of plants in my mind that just don't get bugs. Now, I don't know why, perhaps they just taste horrible, or there are nicer tasting ones that they can go for. An odd mealybug here and there, I would not spray a whole plant. I just deal with those as a spot treatment. I don't want to subject the plant to that sort of thing just for a couple of mealybugs. Just squash the flipping things. And if you see a little outbreak on a plant, I mean, quite honestly, you can wash them off under the tap. Same with aphids. You know, you don't have to resort to their big guns necessarily, but scale, big deal. You know, they need work to keep them down. I'm not even sure it's possible to totally eradicate the flipping things. I suspect my scale came in on one plant and I missed them. You know, in the days when I decided a long time ago I didn't want to use strong chemicals, because in those days I had a chair in here and my cats used to sleep on it, and I didn't want chemicals around areas where my cats are. There's no chair in here anymore, boo-hoo, but it does mean that my cats virtually never come out here now because there's nowhere nice to sit in the sun, so they just don't bother. And I've been lucky with my cats, they don't touch the orchids. I know some people have all sorts of trouble with pets, knocking pots over, chewing stuff, and people with squirrels attacking their plants out in the garden. Well, I'm lucky. The only pests I get in here are the little blighters that can be dealt with a spray. So it's not a nice day for me today, because I don't like having to do this, but I will not accept scale taking my plants down. So, you know, I've only found that a good strong systemic chemical puts them down. Other methods might get rid of some, but it's difficult to shift them completely. Now, a couple of days ago I did all the Cattleya types, because they are very prone to scale, at the base of the pseudobulbs, around the sheaths, you know, and then the adults will come up the pseudobulbs onto the stems and onto your leaves and form those little limpets and breed and produce more of those little white fluffy ones that cluster together. And that's the stage to hit them, quite honestly. Not wait till they get adults to get to adult stage, because those shells that they produce are hard and waxy, and a lot of chemicals won't get through. Yeah, so you're reliant on a chemical within the plant, so that as they bite into it, brown bread. That's the theory. You're getting at them from the inside out. Now, the spray I use is also a contact killer, so when you see those little clusters of white fluffy ones around the base of your pseudobulbs where your roots come out and all that sort of stuff, you know, I made extra sure that I sprayed the base of the plants and the top of the root system and gave the top of the media a pretty good soak. There's no guarantee I'm going to get them all, but the systemic function gets in through the leaves and up through the roots and gets into the plant, does a pretty good job. So all the Tolumnias got done, because they've suffered the worst, and the Cattleya types got done. But as I was doing my updates, some of the Oncidium types had scale, one of them quite bad, and I'm now going to have to go and watch those videos to find out which one it was, because I've forgotten. But one particular Oncidium type, I know it was a weak one, a recovering plant, had scale to quite an extent, yeah, and it was spot treated there and then. But you know, basically today, Restrepias, stuff like that, they don't get affected. I've never had bugs on my Miltoniopsis. I've never had bugs on Coelogenes. I've never had bugs on Bulbophyllums. I get an odd mealybug now and again on some of the Dendrobiums, on the softer new growth, but not to any great extent. Dealable. I haven't had bugs on my Vandas for ages. I did get a few scale on the Vandas once, but dealt with and never come back. It's mainly the Oncidium and intergenerics that I need to get at today, so I can single them out, and I'm hoping I can get round with the sprayer without actually moving the plants. you know, if some of that chemical drips down, then so be it. You know, it's going to dry fast today. I'm going to have heat in here. I can stick the big circulating fan on, close the place up, just in case the cats came in. I don't think they will. And keep me out as well. Because obviously any liquid form does evaporate to a degree and gets in the air, and I don't want to be breathing this stuff in. So it will be sprayed fast and furious. Make sure I give all the leaves a good soak on the plants I want to do, and then I shall get the fan on and get out and shut the door. And then give it a while, let the heat build up, let everything start to dry off, and then I'll come in and I'll force the extractor fan on. Although it may come on its own. If we're going to get some heat in here, then that's on the thermostat, and that will change the air. You know, that will suck out the air and replace it with air that hasn't got chemical in it. And the best time for that to happen is as the plants are virtually dry, because at that point the evaporation's stopped effectively, and whatever's soaked into the plants has done its thing. So not a nice task, I don't enjoy it, but I'm not going to tolerate scale taking my plants down. And this is, oh, I can never say the word, it's Bois du Val, I think, scale. They are the worst, they really are. There's several types of scale you can get, but that one is just a pain. And once you get it, you've got to fight. You've got to fight hard and fast. And if you let it get out of hand, same with spider mites, you let spider mites get out of hand, they do untold damage and spread like hell. And then you've got to deal with them, you know. So any outbreak, anything you see, get on it, attack it, deal with it. Don't think on a Monday, oh, I'll leave that till Saturday, because by Saturday the little tykes might be on 5 or 6 plants instead of just the one. Get at it, deal with them. While I'm here, can I get up there? Yes. Little mini series going on here with this Vanda. First time I filmed that was in one of my updates. The idea is to watch the progress of the blooms, because they don't just open and stay still. And you can see already the tessellations are forming. Now they weren't there when those buds opened. The leaves were plain. They didn't have those markings. And the purple flush is just starting to show. And the size of the plant, it's now, let's tighten my fingers up, it's now well over 1/4 inch larger than my hand. So already this bloom has grown, heading up towards 1 inch since it first opened, and it hasn't finished yet. I'm going to keep doing this because I think a lot of people don't appreciate that Vanda blooms grow. I don't know any other orchids that do that. The blooms open, and once they're fully open, that's it. That's how big they are. Vanda blooms grow. It just tickles me. I just find it an extra added interest. See, now these don't. But then this is predominantly based on Ascosendum, which are now Vandas, but they have a different style to them. So the blooms tend to open, and I don't know whether the camera can catch that. That bloom is sparkling. I don't know whether let me just move round, because what the camera sees and what my eyes sees are often different. These are sparkling in the sun. Now, I've never noticed that before. Learn sunning every day. They are sparkling. So I thought I'd just seen some bugs. Paranoid? Me? But I've got a bug mind on today. I just need to get on with it while I've got the sunshine. Sparkly orange. Now, most of the blooms that sparkle are either white or shades of pink through to the purples. It's the first orange one I've seen with sparklies on it. Smashing. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. My updates, there is one more to come. Part 7 isn't posted yet. Have I done part 6 yet? I can't remember. They're all filmed and they're all made, but I don't want to post them like butted up against each other, because there's no variety otherwise. I like to put a bit in between, like this one. But they're all filmed, they're all put together, they're all ready to go. And it ended up being 7 parts. So when you see part 7, that's the last one. And then there won't be any major updates like that until next year, really, when I'll do the start of season stuff. And yeah, I have an idea. I wanted to do before and afters this year, and when I actually experimented and tried, I kept all my earlier season update clips, stored them away on a backup drive so that I could pull them out again. And the workload was appalling to actually get the appropriate clip, marry it up with the current clip, put the two together alongside each other. Yeah, it became a big deal, and there was a considerable effort for each individual plant. I can't do that. I can't really put that amount of time in for what it would actually achieve. But what I will do next year is, when I do my start of season updates, similar pattern to the ones I've just done, I will make the point of taking a snapshot of each plant as I'm putting the video together, because that will just be easy. I mean, I just click a button in my software and it effectively takes a still. Yeah? And I can name it at that point, and it can be directed via the software into a specific folder. So I'll have a still of every plant at an appropriate point as I'm putting those videos together. Now that's not difficult, I can manage that. Yeah? And the name of the actual file will be the name of the plant as I go along, because I know what plant I'm looking at. You see what I mean? So it's going to make that bit easy. Then when I come to the end of season, I've got a folder full of stills which can be brought back into the end of season videos as a pop-up. And I think that'll work, and that's the minimum amount of workload I can see that still gives me a way of doing it, because I think it's pretty good to actually be able to see what a plant looked like at the start of the year, and if it still exists and hasn't gone brown bread and turned its toes up, what it looks like at the end of the year. I mean, I like that idea, but it's finding a way to do it that isn't really seriously time consuming. So I'm going to have a go at that next year. We'll see how we do. But morning sun on the orchids, some coffee. What a way to start the day. Just been watching Todd's video with him having a walk around the garden in the morning sun with some coffee, looking at the blooms, looking at the plants. What a way to start the day. I know we can't all do it, but yeah, if you can, do it. Morning sun on your blooms just lights them up. Okay, I'll end this one. I don't remember whether this type of Orchid Society meeting actually has the competition plant tables. I can't remember. Senior moment. But if it does, obviously I'll film it, and you know, I'll put a video together with either some hubbub racket in the background, which we always get, or I'll stick some music on. But if there are competition tables there, I will video them. But I can't remember whether they do the tables at this one-off type meeting, which is the plant clinic, it's endearingly known as. But it's a bit of fun, and the raffle is going to be a bit of fun tonight, because it's a wine raffle. That's it. No other prizes allowed. Anybody brings any other types of prizes in to go on the raffle table, they'll be put to one side for another time. So it's a wine raffle. So I might actually buy some tickets. Trouble is, I've got to take a bottle in as well, haven't I? So I've got to sacrifice one of my cheap bottles and hopefully come back with a really good bottle. And it's Friday today, it's the 27th of October, which means yesterday was the 26th. That was actually my birthday, although it passed without much of an event, quite honestly, because it's in the middle of the week. I've got stuff going on at the weekend to do birthday things, but I had a few visitors popped in and said hello, and a few birthday wishes on Facebook, but that's, for me, that's not really a YouTube thing. YouTube thing's about the plants, not me. Anyway, see you next time, and as I said, if there are plants to film tonight, I will do it and put that together tomorrow and get the last ones of these end of season updates posted, I'll have to think of something else then, won't I? Ideas on a postcard. No, seriously, ideas for videos are appreciated. You know, there are only so many types of videos, and if somebody comes up with suggestions that haven't been done before, I'll give anything a go. You know, really, I will. So ideas for videos are welcome. Some will end up not being practical, possibly, but I'll always give them some thought, and if I can do them, I will. Yeah? So, ideas, well, I did say on a postcard, that's just a silly expression. I do mean in the comments, obviously. See you next time. I did film this as part of my updates, but I don't know whether it's been posted. This is my only Cymbidium, and it lives outside, and I was really pleased that something is growing out of the base, and became so channeled by the fact that there was something growing out of the base next to this nice big fat pseudo bulb that is put up this year, that I missed the fact that there's one coming out the other side as well. I don't know much about Cymbidiums, but I know there are people that watch that grow them and know them well and have been doing so for a long time. So if you know whether those are new growths or spikes, can you let me know? They are evenly round and pointed at the moment and have only just started, and I don't know what they are. In a way I hope they're new growths, because that'll put some size into the plant, but whatever they are, I believe they're the same, looking at them. Anyway, some comments might be appreciated.